I have met a lot of creative people in my life, and this young man is definitely one of them. Stick around. Tendo, Chawane.
Yes, sir.
What's going on, son?
I'm good. Can't complain.
Yeah, man. Look, I know who you are.
Yes.
These guys, they may not up until today. So who is Tendo Chawane?
Tendo Chawane is just a young man who grew up in a little bit of different environments, a little bit of rural area, a little bit of the hood, you know, a little bit of the city as well.
Yeah.
So my background is a little bit of everything, and I guess that's where I'm extracting all my creativity in context of what we're talking about today.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm just a chill guy who's just a creative, I guess.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Look, man, you're probably one of the most creative people I know, and it's a pleasure to know you. But then fashion, man. What are you doing there? What's going on there?
Yeah, fashion. It took. Well, I think I've always been in fashion, and shout out to my older brother. He's the one who put me on.
Yeah, shout out.
Yeah. So creative years, because of being around you from the musical perspective and just being around a lot of creatives. Yeah. I think creativity has always been around me since I was young, and I think maybe fashion became my lane.
Yeah.
You know, I remember growing up, I had the privilege to buy clothes as a young man.
Yeah.
My parents didn't buy clothes for me. My older brother did. And my older brother was in high school then, so he was going in with the trends, you know. Yeah. So he made sure I was also fitting in with the trends. And so by coincidence, he would buy branded stuff for me, you know. And because of that, I think that's where the journey started, because then I realized people react a little bit different to branded clothing. And I started doing my own research on why do people react to Levi? Why do people react to Guess? Why do people react to luxury brands like Dior? What's so special about it? I see the same shirt at Edgar's and Mr. Price, but why is the Dior one having a different perspective based on how people perceive it? And then I did my research, and then I got intrigued about the values that these different brands present to people. And I really started loving it. And I guess my love for fashion started there, and I started having my own style and appreciating all the different styles that are out there from brand perspective and from how people dress and put things together. I just got fascinated by that, and being around a creative environment even gave me the platform to maybe try it out myself.
So you mentioned values. How do we determine values? How do I look at a Dior and say this is more valuable than Mr. Price?
I think it boils down to the creative direction of everything.
Okay.
I think the creative direction of everything. Practical example, Dior is a very interesting brand where Mr. Dior himself is the one who started it. So what they did is when he passed away, they created like a so-called museum of everything that inspired him, how he lived his life. So they took everything that kind of like had something to do with his life, put it in an archive, and whoever designs from that inspiration. So there's a little bit of Mr. Dior himself in everything that Dior produces now that he's passed away. So it's kind of like maybe influence and personal style and perspective. So Louis V has its own, obviously tracking back to the family that started it. Regardless of that, even now, they have so-called creative directors. So how, for example, with you, your touch with music and your perspective with music, they'll bring you into their world and say, do you using their resources. So Dior has its own thing. Levi is known for their denim, their functional denim, it being strong and all of those kind of stuff. its color tone and all of those kind of things. So all these different brands, as much as we're looking at them as brands that you are well respected if you're wearing Levi, there's actually a story behind it, and those are the values that the so-called highly respected brand stands on.
So look, I also know you to be a music director and a producer and a creative in that space. How will we find, or rather, are we going to find any of those elements in your clothing? Is there any music there you want to tell us about?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
I think I use my environment to find my context and my creative direction in terms of expressing my creativity through clothing. And sadly, or happily so, music is part of it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So I am going to come up with an interesting concept of creative direction and expressing South African music just from a different creative lens of how I hear sound and how I hear music and how I think it will be better. You know, using me being around you and being around a lot of well-known artists now, I realized and learned a lot about like high-quality music. So I have this interesting creative mind whereby I always want to produce the highest quality in regards to whatever resource I have. So you give me a mango, I want to make the best mango juice out of that resource, and that's what the beauty is, right? If you were to tell me that you built a Rolls Royce from your backyard, that is amazing. Unlike saying I have a 400 billion Rolls Royce factory and I produced a Rolls Royce, like we expect that. But creating beauty out of something that you don't necessarily see beauty coming out of, I think that's my creative lens, and music is a part of it. And creative direction, you know, taking something and making it gourmet, you know, just bringing better quality, you know, and not doing too much. I think a lot of people do too much. Because you want to show people that I can. Sometimes it's about respecting what's being produced. Yes.
Look, man. So I've been through your website, and you're gonna talk about it. And I see sneakers and some of the most amazing things there. Are you scaling at any time to other parts of fashion, or you wanna stick to sneakers?
So sneakers is not actually the core of the business. Sneakers was the introduction. So I personally love sneakers growing up, and within the fashion industry, everybody's going like headwear, you know, sweaters, jackets, whatever the case might be. And I thought if I could use my creativity to express maybe a different light of certain sneakers and create like an exclusive sneaker custom capsule to introduce myself within the fashion industry would be something extremely unique and different. So exclusive sneaker capsule.
Okay, you want to talk more about that?
So the capsule is maybe an inspiration I created for that specific season, and have an exclusive amount of custom sneakers that I'm gonna release for an exclusive amount of time. And then I'm gonna move to another capsule, and another capsule could be sneakers or it could be other clothing. But the brand itself is merely a fully fledged clothing brand where it's headgear, denim, all types of clothing. So I just introduced myself through sneakers.
Cool. Well, I can't wait to be fully dressed on your.
Looking forward as well.
Man. So how do we find you? How do people? Well, I know how to find you. But how do people get hold of you? How do people get in touch with this brand and just learn more about it? So
I have a website which is eziheshima.com. That's where you could see the exclusive custom sneaker capsule that I released in May. I'm also on Instagram. I'm on Instagram. I'm not a limelight type of person.
Well, that's about to change, ladies and gentlemen.
So that's the challenge. I'm not a person who likes cameras and stuff like that. But considering what I want to build and what I want to do, I'm a little bit outside my comfort zone. So I am on Instagram as Tendo_Wayne, and the brand is AZ_Heshima. So that's where they can find me and interact with me. I'm very big on people and human interaction.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, that's where you can find some of my work.
Man, it was exciting to learn about you, especially this side of you, fashion. I can't wait to, like I said, to be fully dressed on your gear, man.
Yeah.
So what we'll do is on the comments we'll put the link to your website so everybody can find you. Thanks, man. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure spending a bit of time with you.
Thank you.
And hope to see you soon.
Yeah, see you tomorrow.